Do you still believe that Tendo Pain can defeat 5 Kage Summit Sasuke? So my take on this is, at full power, Tendo Pain is the clear, most obvious, powerful path of pain. Empirically, it's quite obvious. Hence, it is more than likely that his power is comparable considerably to Nagato himself, obviously as far as his own abilities are concerned. So as we know, Prime Nagato is even above KCM1 Naruto, who is certainly above 5 Kage Summit Sasuke, with Killer B being relative to the 4th Red Kage to some arbitrary extent. And we saw how that went. So Killer B is relative to the 4th Red Kage, who had some competition with 5 Kage Summit Sasuke. Nagato is even above that, right? So that's just another chain of scaling to reinforce the premise that Nagato, and hence the Tendo path, more than likely is above 5 Kage Summit Sasuke. Hence, in the event Tendo were to engage in combat with this version of Sasuke, Tendo would more likely overwhelm Sasuke with his speed, his hacks, and pure power, again if we presuppose that he's even relative to Prime Nagato. So that would be my take on that. That's why he would probably beat him.
Yeah, so I agree completely. Tendo is the strongest path of pain, whether it be narratively implied or just feats alone. There's the fact of the matter that even gray-haired Nagato, who would be relative to the sick pain that we saw throughout the main series, was able to even react to V2B as well.
Exactly.
And instantly absorb all his chakra. So even sick and weathered, he's able to react to opponents that are just faster than 5 Kage Summit at that certain point in the series. And so because of that, he can just absorb his chakra, and he can just push him at whim because he doesn't have the Yagami or some weapon to repel him or detect or help him not get blown away, essentially. So
exactly.
He just has all the tools in his arsenal to dispose of Sasuke, unfortunately.
Yep.
And
empirically, it's much easier to come to that conclusion than arguing for Sasuke. What's going on, YCA Prodigy as well? Thanks for coming in, brother. Josh asked, Peon versus the 5 Kage. I don't know who Peon
Pain,
is.
probably
mean Pain. Yeah, that's probably mean. I watched a really bad video down playing Gaara and the Red Kage. They both said they would lose right off the bat. Pain, the 6 paths of Pain, if they're near the full power, yeah, he would beat all of them. I do see him coming out on top. Would it be effortless? I wouldn't say effortless, but I do see him coming out on top. His hacks, he could theoretically just Chibaku Tensei the whole summit and kill everyone that way if he wanted to. Yeah, he will win very, very decisively, but would he absolutely annihilate the Red Kage and Gaara? No. I wouldn't go far as to say that. Gaara's sand would be problematic. The Red Kage's speed probably would be somewhat of a challenge. But then again, we see where Nagato scales, so that speed still wouldn't suffice in overtaking full power Pain. So
Noki Ampinen would help.
Yeah, that could possibly be a...
Blade Pain in that regard. I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Path,
yeah,
the levitation.
There's so many hacks. Yeah,
there's so many hacks.
So many hacks, and on top of that, his speed plus his hacks. I mean, I don't see them coming out of that one alive. So
yeah.
Continuing on, let's go on Phantom. If 5 Kage-sama Sasuke fought against Killer B for their first fight, how will that fight go down? If it was 5 Kage-sama Sasuke, he'd have a much better chance. He's stronger. He is. There's this implication that he's constantly gaining more and more power due to his hate increasing, sort of a hate amp, which Karin implies as well. If it was this Sasuke against Killer B, I think he would hang with even up to V1. I think once you get to V2, he might have some trouble. That's relative to the Red Kage, probably V2. He might even possibly beat him. There's a possibility he could. He would hang much better. I'll say that. He's not going to get schooled and dealt with the way he did when he was in Taka. So as far as him winning, there's a chance. I'd still lean towards Killer B more than likely because he's implied to be around KCM1. I'd probably still lean towards him winning in the end, but Sasuke would give him a run for his money this time. I'll say that. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think the speed is definitely just relative to the Red Kage at the very least in KCM1 Naruto, who's just a tier above in speed than Kage-sama Sasuke. But his detriment was really going into the 8 Tails mode when he fought up against Taka. Just being such a big target for the Almaterasa was kind of like a downfall for him. So going to V2, just being maximum in terms of speed and tangible assets, I think he has the adequate arsenal to take on Sasuke. And Genjutsu wouldn't matter, obviously.
Yep, exactly.
As we saw.
Sasuke, there's nothing to imply that Sasuke has that next tier Genjutsu that not even Jinchurikis could handle. That's something Itachi possessed, but there's nothing to imply Sasuke has anything like that. He has Genjutsu, but I don't think he has Genjutsu to where even Jinchurikis can't break out. I doubt that. There's nothing empirically has ever shown. Would KCM Naruto defeat Pain easily? KCM Naruto depends on the KCM exactly. KCM1 probably wouldn't beat the 6 passive Pain at their strongest. Would he beat the passive Pain that Chaotic Shin or Tensei the Leaf? Maybe, because he's weaker. A few of the pass were destroyed. Maybe he's significantly fatigued. He can take him on then, but I don't see him beating full power 6 pass Pain. I would say they're relative to Nagato, so I doubt that.
If he uses the Chaotic Shin or Tensei afterwards, and then he faces him, I could see him beat him.
Yeah, after that, I could see that there's an arbitrary depletion of power at that point. I mean, even Seijun Naruto's swapping hands with Tendo at that point, so maybe then, but if it's full power, I doubt it. I mean,
I doubt it as well.
I doubt that. Yeah. So, Datoro could beat Gaara, then Pain is going to spank him. Yeah, pretty much. If it's one-on-one, especially, he's going to destroy him. And Tsunade was already helpless against Pain and the Leaf. Yeah, pretty much helpless. Next question, though. Feel free to keep asking questions, folks. Super chats again, take priority, or if you're a member, take priority. Thanks to all the members once again. Next question was, how would the world of Naruto be different if Madara had Obito take the mantle of changing the world in his place instead of having a plan to revive him? So it's actually a good question. This is what I would say. The war, the 4th Great Shinobi War to be exact, wouldn't have reached the climax that we saw in the original storyline. Madara was clearly illustrated to be the final boss, the big bad boss, so to speak. And we saw that with the discrepancy in success between Obito and Madara. A good example is Obito became Jubito, had some success, and then Madara became Jubidara and had much more success. It wasn't up until 6 past Naruto and Sasuke appeared to where they had any remote chance of beating this guy. That just illuminates further that Madara was a superior antagonist. Hence, the war probably would have ended more quickly. It probably would have ended after Jubito got Talk no Jutsu, because without Madara, there is no big bad boss to face anymore. They simply would have won the war. And there's even a possibility that it could have ended sooner, because as most remember, the Ten Tails had to be sort of tamed by Madara and Obito collectively, because it was a hard beast to tame. This wasn't Kurama or 8 Tails. This was the Ten Tails, who was implied to be much stronger. So without Madara next to him, I doubt he could have even tamed the Ten Tails to do his bidding. So it might have even ended even quicker. The Ten Tails could have just slaughtered everyone because no one can control them. So it just would have been a less climactic, suspenseful war that would have ended quicker without Madara. So that's what I would say about that.
Yeah, I just feel like Obito, just narratively, was just susceptible towards like mental turmoil. He was just more susceptible towards being talked out of his like convictions and like his purpose, quote unquote, if you will. And it led him to just being Talk no Jutsu, like Jay was saying, and led to him not being the ironclad ruler that Madara had to be in order for the war to go in his favor in the first place.
Yeah, so exactly.
Madara was a significant tool in his vision going to what it was. Obito was just a tool. You know, he could be disposed at whatever time Madara wanted to, and things would be just fine. So
essentially,
Obito would probably just be talked into being a good person, and then there would be no war. There would be no Jubito.
Exactly.
It'd be over.
Exactly. Not only the difference in power, the discrepancy, but also the discrepancy in mental toughness. Obito never had that. He always had his doubts. Madara stood by his convictions until his death. I mean, he's not going to change. So, $2 from Kedrick. I appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
Sir Goats in here. Like the stream. Yeah, like the stream, guys. Shout out to Sir Geets for reminding everyone. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
He asked, how strong is Pain compared to War Arc characters? Pain, he's relative to Prime Nagato, and Kabuto stated that Nagato is the strongest, besides Madara, is the second strongest Edo in the war. So that should give you some illustration. You could argue Itachi is right there because of the altercation they had, but essentially he's top 2, top 3. Even the 6 passive Pain would still be in that tier of power. They're arbitrarily times weaker, you can argue, but they're very relative to Prime Nagato. We're talking about like a top 2, top 3 guy. The only guys that could probably beat him would be arguably Itachi and obviously Madara. That's it. He's right up there with Nagato.
Sage Kabuto.
Yeah, he's up there. Like he's right below the very, very top of the key before 6 pass, like Hashirama and Madara. He's below that, and then below that you have guys like Obito, Itachi, Pain, Nagato if you want to talk about him, KCM Naruto. Minato, yeah, like right below that. So he's up there. He slaughters most of the people in the war. Say that. But yeah, thanks for the $2 though, Kedrick. But yeah, I feel if Obito didn't have the plan to bring Madara back the whole time, then he probably would have gone harder to make himself the prime ruler. That was never his intention. His intention was to enact upon his nihilistic view of the world. That was never even Madara's intention. He never wanted to be a prime ruler. They wanted to end the cycle of hatred. That was their main objective. Clearly, they had harsh means of doing so. They were willing to slaughter tens of thousands of Shinobi Alliance members to do so. But the end goal was to enact Project Infinite Tsukuyomi and the end of the cycle of hatred. But Obito just lacked the mental toughness. Naruto was a parallel of what he would have become if he never would have went rogue, and if that boulder never would have smashed half his body. He would have become Naruto, Hokage, and he saw himself in Naruto, and that's why his doubts started to creep in. And that would have just happened. Without Madara, there is no voice of reason, I guess you could say, for the antagonist side, because Madara's not there, and simply put, Naruto would talk him down, or the Ten Tails would go crazy, or he would just get talked no jutsu'd anyway when he's Jubito, if he was even able to get that far, so Madara.
And Madara
Yeah.
saw Sasuke and, like, saw a little bit of himself in Sasuke, but
Exactly.
as opposed to just, shaking his resolve and going the way that others saw fit, for the sake of Sasuke and others in his lifetime, essentially, he was very devout in his ideology. He spared Sasuke because, he thought he maybe had the promise or prospect of being someone like him, but
Exactly.
as soon as he realized that wasn't a reality, he's like, whatever, right? Let's just go end this cycle of hate, essentially, with what I know is best.
Yeah.
And he did whatever it took to enact upon these desires. But
Exactly.
Obito, he shook almost at the first sight of seeing Kakashi and Naruto, and it really wasn't as big of a fire in his soul to commit all these acts that Madara was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
He was shaky at best from the very, very beginning.
Exactly. He still had those emotional attachments, those bonds, and conversely, Madara severed those bonds. I mean, he was willing to kill Hashirama. He failed, but he was willing to kill even his best friend to implement his plan. Obito never had that in him. He never had that in him. He never had that resolve that Madara did, and that's why Madara looked at him as just a disposable placeholder tool. And that's what he was. He said, "Fuck it, I don't give a fuck about you now. Now I'm the Cherokee. Whether you die or not is trivial to me." So Madara was certainly a totalitarian, heavily ironclad mind. Was willing to die for his cause, and he did that. Exactly that. Several, arguably twice. First against Ashirama. Well, he faked his death, and then later on when he gets revived, he's willing to die again. That's how ironclad of a mind the man had. Obito never had that.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, man. Obito never had
And
that.
he had that tag on his heart the whole time. He's like, I dare you to do something.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
He had him under control the whole time.
Yeah. He was the real big boss, even though he was dead for how long? However how long he was dead. He was the guy. Even pulling the strings while dead, because he had Obito's mind under his control, even after he was gone. So, until obviously the doubt came in. Could Pain be any variations of Madara?Maybe Kid Madara? Maybe Kid Madara.
Yeah. That's
Oh shit! $10 from Sir Goats. Appreciate that, brother.
Oh yeah, brother.
We gotta put that on this. We gotta put those bigger donations on the screen. Appreciate that, brother. We'll answer your question quickly.
Sir W, man.
Sir W, Sir Goats. Put this on the screen real quick, folks. Give me a second here. Appreciate it, Sir Goats. A second.
Yeah. Other than that, Madara's pretty. Maybe Warning States. Madara,
Yeah, he's not that
arguably.
developed yet. Like before EMS, maybe. Even
Other than that, yeah,
Past EMS, nah, he's not beating it.
No.
Yeah, there's no chance.
definitely not.
At that point, he's Hashirama level with Sage Mode. Nah, it's not gonna happen.
Sobirama could have beaten Madara at that point in time too.
Yeah, exactly.
Arguably.
Yeah.
If he can beat his unit, I don't see why not. So
Yeah. So those are the only possible chances he'd have. After that, I mean, he doesn't have a single shot. Give me a second, folks. Put it on the screen. So you asked. Let me make it bigger real quick. War arc, one writing out Kakashi versus ending a Shippuden Sasuke. War arc, running on Kakashi. The thing is, there'd be no rational way to even argue that he could handle one Renegon. Even Obito had trouble with one. But let's presuppose that he can. He would be. I don't think he'd even be as strong as White Mask Obito. But he'd be pretty powerful. Would he be enough to be ending of Shippuden Sasuke? No. Unless it's 6 past chakra within him, maybe then. If it's not 6 past powers, he has no shot at defeating Sasuke. Now, if he has 6 past powers and has a Rinnegan and a Sharingan, and he's even remotely similar to how he was as DMS, then there's a good chance he could blitz Sasuke, based off what we see empirically. I mean, he blitzed an exponentially times stronger Kage. It wouldn't be a problem probably to blitz Sasuke at that point. So
good rational deduction. Yeah.
Yeah. So it really depends on how powerful you scale that specific iteration of Kakashi. Yeah. So.
If we were to presuppose that the Rinnegan wouldn't tax him too much on his chakra, and the Rinnegan is obviously like a 6-pass token, if you will, so it would inherently give Kakashi 6-pass chakra, I would think, at least, in some regard, if it was given to him. So, in that case, I think he would just amplify his abilities exponentially, like we saw with DMS Kakashi. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
He would just probably take the cake. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be badass though. And he probably would have some unique ability too that we don't know.
Yeah, with the Rinnegan, who knows? You'd have like some weird like shuriken jutsu like he did with the DMS. That'd be crazy to see. Let's see. Yeah, Kid Madara. Yeah, exactly. It's only like versions he'd have a chance against. Now Obito got his sensei and Kushina killed, so I think he had some resolve. Not necessarily. On the second he saw Naruto, he was already having doubts. His resolve, he had resolve. He didn't have resolve like Madara did.
It was shaky though.
Yeah.
Very shaky. Yeah.
He wasn't strong. He didn't have strong conviction like Madara. So that's why Madara used him as a placeholder. You know. Is Tendo Pain's Rinnegan the weakest Rinnegan? Comparing him to the others.
Well, it's technically Madara's Rinnegan.
Yeah, it's technically Madara's. I would argue Madara using the Rennegans could do more than Pain could. Is it the weakest? I guess so. If you think about all the others, there's Sasuke with his Rene Sharingan, clearly he's stronger. Madara with his Rinnegan, clearly he's stronger. Obito, White Mask. There's an argument there that maybe he's not as strong. Well, he's faster than Pain, I'd say, but more brute power. I don't know. He can only handle one on top of that.
Yeah, it's hard to say because, like, in terms of being the best practitioner, he definitely lacks in impressive feats.
Yeah.
There's nothing really unique to his Rinnegan abilities besides the standard 6 Path of Pain abilities. But
exactly.
I would say he's probably the worst user out of all of them that we see.
Yeah.
Because everyone has something else to add to their arsenal, whereas Pain just has that, which everybody else already has. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, $2 from Kendrick again. Appreciate that, brother. He said, Team Kurenai versus Team Asuma without Sensei. Alright, so it certainly depends on which iteration of these teams. So let's go to part 1. Maybe tuning exams are on there. Team Kurenai has Hinata, Kiba, Shino. Team Asuma has Ino, Shiko, Cho, right? So as far as who would win between those two, that's a tough one. The most problematic would be a Red Pill Choji or something like that. Shino is a problem with his bugs. I mean, they can even absorb chakra.
Hinata is pretty good when she gets amped up too.
Yeah, if she's amped, that'd be a problem for Team.
Quite impressive.
I might lean towards Team Asuma. They have Shikamaru. They have Choji, who can take the pills if all else fails.
And mind transfer.
And mind transfer from Ino. I mean, if they take out Shino, I think Team Kurenai's finished, and maybe Ino could use the mind transfer jutsu, dispose of Shino. After that, I don't see only Kiba and Hinata getting past those 3. I doubt it.
They just cover all the bases. It's mid, long range, everything.
They're a better team. Yeah.
I'd say very well orchestrated. So
very well orchestrated. They come from they literally come from a lineage of legendary teams. I mean, the Ino Shiko Cho is generations. So I think. So I think Team Asuma will probably come out on top there. That's what I'd say about that. It's a good question, though.
It is a good question, absolutely.
Yeah. What did you guys say about 5 Kage-sama Sasuke versus Tendo Pain? So basically what we said, to reiterate, is that when scaling, Tendo Pain being the strongest passive Pain, you can make a safe conclusion that he's at least arbitrarily relative to Prime Nagato. Prime Nagato is above Killer Bee and KCM1 Naruto. And Killer Bee is relative, both KCM and Killer Bee. KCM Naruto and Killer Bee are relative to the Great Kage, who had some competition with 5 Kage-sama Sasuke, so Prime Nagato would defeat him. Tendo Pain would defeat him because he's relative to Prime Nagato, more than likely.
Yeah. I think he was in V1. I always I need to rewatch that, but I think he was at V1 when he fought Sasuke. And old Nagato too is able to react to V2,
Exactly.
B. So whether it's Sick or Prime, he could take on Sasuke.
Exactly.
More
There's a much better premise for empirical backed up premise for Tendo Pain. There's probably some argument for Sasuke, but I would say it's the weaker one. 5 Kage-sama Sasuke maybe not a demigod level guy, but he can really destroy Konoha by himself. He can just jump on top of stone faces and circle. Yeah, he would if he went to Konoha. He'd have a lot of success. He probably would. If it's just Sage Mode Naruto who would miss inferiority and he's at full power, I don't really see who would stop him besides like a hypothetical 8 gates my guy at that point.
Yeah, Tsunade's not doing anything.
Yeah, no, too slow. Kakashi's getting beaten. Naruto's getting beaten. My guy would probably have to go 8 gates, to be honest.
Yeah,
so
that's your only savior right there.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean Danzo was killed by him too, and he's pretty powerful himself. I mean, yeah.
Danzo would just help Alice with destruction, probably.
Literally, yeah.